Okay, so are you okay with being recorded and having that like publicized within the Canvas? And
I am.
okay, perfect. So, first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Daisy Saldana, and I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions today. So,
Okay.
to start it off, can I like learn a little bit about yourself, like your name, your age, your profession?
Yeah, no, my name is George Duvall. I am from Lexington, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Washington for about 4 years. I'm the program coordinator or ethnic coordinator now for Africana Studies.
Right.
And so what I do is I work with a lot of students and we build programs together.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to start off by asking, growing up, did you ever find yourself struggling or fitting in and finding like your identity or where you kind of, in a sense, belonged?
Of course, of course. I wrote a book about it.
Oh,
I
you
wrote a book
did?
about it. No, and yeah, I did. And the book is all. And if you read the book, it's about
Uh-huh.
where you fit in because I grew up as a black child in the ghetto, and
Uh-huh.
then was taken away from my mother, and then placed in a all white area of Kentucky
Mm-hmm.
where I grew up around all white people,
Mm-hmm.
and so racism became a big factor. And overcoming that racism and having to understand how to move forward from it
Mm-hmm.
became a challenge. So yes, yes, I definitely that was definitely a struggle.
Um, grew up, what like have you personally experienced or witnessed a explicit racial encounter?
I don't mean to laugh, but you lucky I don't know you because I'll start cussing right now. Yes,
Yes.
100%. Yes, 100%. I've experienced direct racism,
Mm-hmm.
not stuff that happens out here,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm talking about where you can go and where you can't go in the South. It's not behind your back, and that racism is real.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, as I've learned that you have experienced a lot of racism as you grew up, and it was really hard to find your identity and stuff, did you find like what gave you the strength to just kind of like keep moving forward and like succeed or like pursue higher education and like write a book and become what you are today?
I found a mentor.
You found a
And my
mentor?
mentor is the reason why there's a reason. Man, he is my mentor since 1989.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
We started out mentors,
Mm-hmm.
became friends, and are now brothers. So you're talking
Aww,
about over 31 years.
that's
And
awesome.
we continue to move forward with each other. And the battles that we went through, he's one of the people that protected me
Mm-hmm.
when I was going through that stuff racially. And
Mm-hmm.
I said he was there, and I needed to find my identity.
Yeah.
And he was the one that helped me find my identity. And that is why I, as a person,
Mm-hmm.
with the mentees and mentors that I have, I do
Mm-hmm.
the same thing.
So, as a mentor or a mentoree, like what's one key thing that you guys do for each other to try to help find your identity?
You got to find someone that believes in who you are as a person.
Okay.
Valleys will teach you more than the mountaintop will. As a kid that's grew up with so much struggle,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yep, I believe that 100%. 100%. I've not been to the mountaintop yet, but I tell you, the valleys has taught me a whole lot.
As you mentioned earlier, you were separated from your family, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, foster care.
okay. Oh, so you grew up in like the foster care system and stuff?
I sure did. Foster care and boys' homes.
Can you go in a little bit further depth with how the foster care system was for you, like how that experience was for you, and how your African American race kind of played a part with that as well?
Yeah, okay. So the first one showed me love. because they were a family. But they were white and they didn't understand what it was like to be African American.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did not allow the culture to come into play with African Americans.
Okay.
And that was kind of disappointing
Mm-hmm.
because there was something that I lost.
Yeah. It's like losing
And
your
as I
identity.
grew older, yeah. So the second family that took me in was a black family.
Mm-hmm.
And they would not allow racism to even enter. No. You say something about racism, this family stood up and they were holding you up, your head up, their shoulders back, and they walked with me.
How important is race and racism to you, and how do you consider yourself as like an advocate in like that sense?
Has not gone away. It's systemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what one person feels. It's about systemic racism. Slavery is over with, but systemic is there. But it does not have to do with them. But they cannot, I don't care who you are, history cannot be erased. It is what it is. And if you don't talk about it, you just harboring it. You're holding it in.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 biracial kids.
Mm.
And my ex-wife and I, we taught them to love who they are, the person in the mirror.
I have another last question. So, with you, what would you consider your like main value to life, or just an outlook? What do you consider your main value to be, and how do you think your upbringing and your race or other factors contributed to your values?
Oh, that's easy. Service.
Service?
I have built to be a servant. That is a model of my fraternity. First of all, servant of all, we shall transcend all. And I am a servant of people. And I am especially a servant to young people to find value in them and help them grow. That's the way that I've been built.
All the questions I have today.
If I can help you out in any way, you can always reach out to me.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to thank you for taking your time to speak with me today.
That's no problem. And I hope you're staying safe.
Thank you so much. You as well. You have a great day.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Today when I interviewed Dr. DeVal, I had the focus on speaking of his struggles with racism and his beliefs with that, and kind of like his upbringing in a sense. So right off the bat, I discovered that he had quite some struggles with racism and dealing with it and kind of like overcoming it. And racism for him in his life was such a big aspect to him that he like wrote a book about it. Furthermore, he started talking about his experience with the foster system and being separated from his mother. And he talked about 2 separate families in specific. The first being a white family who didn't really understand racism and kind of blocked it away, so he started losing part of his identity, versus the second family who was of color and was kind of open and talked and acknowledged racism as a whole. After that, I was like kind of shocked, and I asked how he overcame these like situations and like throughout his life. And he told me that he in 1989 had met a mentor who helped him through it all. And after that, I asked him like, how did mentor help him like find his identity, help him, like what was the core with like having a mentor? And he basically said that it doesn't matter how like who the mentor is or what their like profession in life is, basically, as long as they believe in you like wholeheartedly, they're a good mentor because they help you find your identity and believe in you and
help you believe in yourself. We talked about his main value and how that's influenced with his experiences, and he basically said his main value was service, is in specific service to the youth and being a servant to the youth and helping them find themselves as a person and being there for them. So I feel like that kind of just emphasizes the whole mentor thing from what he experienced to find his identity and help him grow. I feel like he's kind of continuing on that cycle. So in conclusion, I feel like his past and his upbringing and his like life experiences of like having a mentor to guide him throughout his life is really a highlight on why he kind of is where he is now and what he does for a living. I think it connects quite well. Like now as a profession, he's an ethnic coordinator, and he works a lot with children students to help them create programs together and build upon. So yeah, I feel like it all just ties in and correlates within one another. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the reason why I did my interview on like the phone and not a video record of both is because that was my second interview. I did one and I did a FaceTime, although the audio wasn't working, so I had to find a whole new person to interview. And once I did that, they wanted to just do the interview over the phone. So I just kind of was on the phone and recorded myself with my laptop, and that's what we got. So yeah.